Hello, hello, and welcome to another reading. We are going to, I usually share the screen before I start, but I forgot, so bear with me. We are going to be talking about the upcoming Virgo New Moon, which is happening on, oh, there we go, sorry, it's opened, which is happening on the 3rd of September. Remember that I always set this up for where I am in the world, which is in South Africa, so it may not be, the day may overlap depending on where in the world you are. And also the pie chart as you see it, these pie wedges around here may change depending where you are. So depending where you are, you more than likely don't have a 21-degree Cancer rising chart for this new moon. So don't really worry about that. As I say time and time again, is take it to your own chart. And again, I have a very good example of how I can do that with my own chart, because this new moon is happening at 11 degrees of Virgo. That is the exact degree of my North Node. So now I know that whatever the North Node is representative of is going to be a very impacted thing in my life. And the North Node is about how we step into our Dharma, what is best for our soul's growth, evolutionary growth. Today, Mercury is stationing direct, but clearly still a little bit impacted on my speech. But yes, so this is also, speaking of Mercury, a Mercury ruled lunation, because Mercury rules the sign of Virgo. So we do want to have a consideration when we know that Mercury's in charge of this new moon, what's happening with Mercury. And in the case of Mercury, he is still in his shadow here. Wait, let me just move you a little down. Here's Mercury over here, 23 degrees of Leo during this full moon. And he is just out of retrograde by the, I think I said full moon, new moon. He is just out of retrograde at the point of this new moon, because the new moon is on the 3rd of September, and on the 28th of, which is when I'm filming this, the 28th of August is when Mercury stations direct. That means Mercury's still in his shadow, but not only that, he's just undergone a big reflective process. And I really feel very strongly that this chart is such an opportunity for us to harness some big lessons around that. So I want to jump into those. I want to remind you that new moon is when we set our intentions. And when it's a new moon in Virgo, as it is this time, what you want to do is you want to set your intentions around Virgo things. So before we continue, let's just think about the sign of Virgo. It's an earth sign. So anything that is practical and methodical and material, these are good things for earth signs in general. This is a mutable earth sign, which means of all the earth signs, it's the one that is the most able to change and shift. So think malleable clay as we think of earth, right? So you can make that urn that you can then carry that water with. So there's also something very service oriented in the sign of Virgo. So I'm going to make the urn, and now I can carry water for my family and for others, and. Virgo really likes to be of service. It links very strongly to animals, especially smaller animals like domestic pets would definitely qualify there. And then also health and healing, particularly alternative healing, using things like herbs and natural medicines. This is a very Virgoic space. Virgo is a bit of a natural apothecary kind of energy. Where our challenge lies with Virgo is procrastinating, being a little bit persnickety or pedantic, and trying for perfectionism. And these are spaces, oh, and sorry, one more thing I must mention at Virgo season is the inner critic. So this is going to tie in very strongly to what I want to really focus in on this chart today, is about how we think. Because Mercury is the planet of how we think. And when Mercury is in a Virgo perspective, because Mercury rules two signs, Virgo and also Gemini, and they have different outlooks, and both are present in an important, powerful way in this chart. So let's first talk about Virgo. In a Virgo way, Mercury is very analytical in a way that is detail oriented and very practical. I need to write my lists. I need to tick things off the list. I need to get things done. I need to clean the cupboards. I need to sort my finances. It's real practical stuff. I need to pack my vitamins out for every day of the week, or I need to make sure that I do my grocery shopping for the perfect healthy eating experience. This could also be my gym routines or my exercise routines, that sort of thing. And when it goes awry, it tends to be a belly situation. So Virgo rules the stomach, and it can often be like a nervous tummy or anxiety swirling in the belly, clenching of the belly, IBS, anything around gut health really comes in very strongly. So a lot of the nervous tension that Mercury can have, because Mercury is very mercurial, he can be very jittery. In Gemini, I am a Gemini. In Gemini, there's a lot of hand movement. There's a lot of nervous system kind of like response and jitteriness. With Virgo, it's less obvious. It tends to go into the belly. So it's happening, but it's not happening for everyone to see. With Gemini, it's more talking too fast or getting a little breathless or hyperventilating and rushing around or jarring kind of movements or being super excitable and then just easily crashing. It's more visible in Gemini energy than it is in Virgo that internalize it, push it into the body, and often primarily into the gut and the digestive system. And then if we go to Mercury and we think, well, Mercury is our mind, and we think of the three brains, the head brain, heart brain, and gut brain, you can see that in Virgo, Mercury is really trying to bring our gut brain, which is our instinctual brain, and that part of us where we want to rest, digest, and heal, is really trying to bring healthy routines and rituals to the fore from our instinctual animal selves. I mean, we are really animals. Whereas in Gemini, it kind of gets a bit up and out, and it can be analysis paralysis in the brain, and overthinking and changing of minds and quick thinking, not giving us a chance because there's lots of ideas, but we may not have the chance to integrate them, to embody them, to digest them, which brings in the Virgo. So these two signs are both mutable, which means they kind of clash with each other. One wants to be mutable and airy. I want to think about it. I want to be able to change and shift and all these ideas and dart around. And the digestive Virgo energy, which is also mutable, is I need to adjust the things that I do on a day-to-day level so that I am healthy, so that I can serve others. Whereas Gemini can struggle to make things material. Gemini can struggle to get things from the head into, and Gemini rules the arms and hands, into the actual doing of, giving of, if it isn't grounded. Now, nobody who is Gemini is only a Gemini. So if I'm speaking that and you're a Gemini as I am, and you're thinking, well, what am I going to do? I can't get anything done. That's not true at all. You'll have other things. Like I, for example, have strong Virgo energy as well. So this is a very curious dynamic in me personally. So you're going to want to look at what is that in me personally. Am I very obviously one of these archetypes over the other? Now I want to throw in another one. We'll have 4 mutable signs, and now we've spoken about Virgo, we've touched in on Gemini, and now I want to throw in Pisces. Okay, Pisces is mutable water, so up here. I think I mentioned Gemini's air, so it is our thinking, it is our ideas, it is flighty, and up here Virgo is down, grounded, earth, mutable earth, the clay. Now mutable water, it's the opposite sign to the sign of Virgo. And remember that opposites always have this tug of war energy, similar but different. And water is naturally, it has many different states, let's be honest. Water is quite versatile in that way, but in its natural flowing state, it is versatile. It does flow. Of course, it can also become ice and get frozen and locked in. It can become steam and be too easily dissipated into the air. But in its general state, it is flowing, naturally fluid. In this particular lunation, what's interesting is it's opposite at 11 degrees to 8 to 16 degrees, so a little bit wide opposition, but definitely still present, to Saturn. And Saturn is about structure and cold and contraction. So Saturn almost wants to make ice of the water. But Pisces is a lot of water. Pisces is the ocean. So Saturn's trying to make icebergs in his 2.5-year journey that he's spending in the sign of Pisces. which basically means he's trying to take this huge oceany amorphic space and give it some kind of structure. He's trying to build islands almost in this craziness that gives us something to hold to. And if we add in this a very, very strong dynamic in this particular lunation is Pisces at 29 degrees. Excuse me, Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces. Now, Neptune is next year going to begin his shift out of the sign of Pisces. Pisces is the final sign of the zodiac, and Pisces is the sign that with modern rulership is Neptune's sign. So Neptune and Pisces both have this deeply idealistic, imaginal. If I can imagine it, it can just stew in the soup in the waters of this ocean, and anything is possible. Things can be plucked from it, things can be created. So it's almost like the Gemini can pull ideas from this imaginal ocean, but the Virgo needs to make it into something. Pisces is just the imaginal waters. It's not actually trying to do anything with it. It's just like amniotic waters, and things are being created in there all the time. And if you can intellectually, Gemini, grab those ideas and become that little inventor that goes, right, how do I do something with this? And if you can then Virgo, take it, metabolize it, think about it, and do it, create it, that's a very powerful combination. But Neptune in this chart at 29 degrees is squaring Mars at almost 29 degrees of Gemini. Mars is how we get things done. So that conversation stream is very much like, okay, well, how do I do that? And Mars is getting a bit frustrated because he's squaring the Neptune energy. It's getting a bit frustrated, saying, how am I supposed to take one drop out of this ocean, because that's the idea drop that I need? There's too many ideas coming like waves and waves, and I'm unable to pluck one easily from this place. And Mars is getting kind of hot under the collar, and he really needs to tell a story. Gemini is a great storyteller. So Mars wants to tell a story of that one drop so that the story can become more comfortable, because we're changing so much newness is coming into our space right now. So Mars needs to speak it. I need to tell you the story. I need to tell you this dream. I need to paint this beautiful picture of a different way of being in the world. And then our Virgo sun and moon need to then go, okay, now we've heard the story. We've turned it into a pattern of thinking. We've changed our belief system. We've changed our ideas of what it is to live a healthy life. We're no longer so caught up in, if I have the fanciest car or house or job or whatever, that makes me the most successful. Those stories are breaking down and changing into, what makes me happy? What brings me joy? What makes me feel like a good member of my community? How is that more important than how much money I earn or what size home I have? So this is the kind of story structures where the huge wealth of the world being with a very small amount of people. This is where we're starting to realize, actually, maybe there's something different. Maybe my ideas are different. Maybe my ideals are different. My belief system is changing. And if Mars in Gemini at this particular new moon, but remember Jupiter's in Gemini too, so he's a real loud herald. He sings things loudly. So he's also been shouting this kind of song for the last few months already, and will continue for the next few months from the sign of Gemini, to tell the story and tell the story and tell the story, so that we can start to believe it, digest it, metabolize it. Virgo, do something about it. Start growing food in your own garden. Start getting involved in your community in a new way. Start spending more time stroking your pets, and just take that as a worthwhile time. These are the kinds of things that we need to bring into our consciousness. And it feels like the story, and how to change the story, change the beliefs, change the dream, reevaluate. Remember, Mercury's just been retrograding through Virgo and Leo, so reevaluating all these big concepts and how they really work or don't work for us is very, very important. And again, a lot of what I was just saying there very much links into, which we've been doing for a good long few years now, Pluto's move from Capricorn into Aquarius. And at the time of this new moon, Pluto, for the very last time, he's only spending a few short months now at the very last degrees of Capricorn. Look at this, 29 degrees and 58 minutes. He has just stepped back into Capricorn. So the lessons we should have learned with Pluto's job is to break things down, break down the dysfunction and toxicity within an archetype. Every archetype has them. So when he's talking about his Pluto breakdown, he's right at the end of, since 2008, breaking down the Capricorn story. He's been breaking down the top-down power. So Pluto is at the end. He's finally said, so now you can see that the wealthiest people of the world and the poorest people of the world are too far apart. It's not balanced, it's not fair, it's toxic. Now he's broken that down. Look, there can be quite a few different narratives around that, but that's the one I'm pulling in today with this chart. He's dipped his toe back there to say, can you feel how dysfunctional that is? Can you feel how it no longer works? That was what we believed was how your the ladder to success was. That's what we conditioned our children for hundreds of years. We've conditioned them. You study, you get the job, you have to get promotions, you have to keep getting bigger, a bigger car, a bigger house, bigger, higher. And if you're not doing that, you're not achieving, you're failing, basically. That was the ideal. And then now we're stepping into the Aquarius archetype. And don't get me wrong, there's going to be some toxicity in the Aquarius archetype that Pluto's ideally going to break down. But when he first enters, it's almost like a breath of fresh air. Aquarius is an air sign. From that like really intense breakdown, so on one hand, this breath of fresh air, because we just want a new archetype now. We're tired. We're done with the working through the Capricorn stuff. But also, as we get into the Aquarius, there will also be challenging things we're already seeing. Artificial intelligence is going to be something where we're going to have to see the highs and the lows of it. That's one example again of an Aquarius narrative that we're going to experience and are already experiencing. However, let's just put it this way in terms of Pluto stepping into that Aquarian archetype, which he's been doing, and he's about to fully step in after this last little tiptoe back into Capricorn. And that is where it's saying community, power with the people, not top-down power, not complete imbalance. And the other side of Aquarius is Leo, where Mercury is now, and where Mercury has done part of his retrograde. And that is the autonomous person that you are. I need to be the ruler of my life. I need to be responsible, accountable, heart-centered, the queen of my own queendom, the main character in my own story. I need to do that the best I can so that I am good for the people I come in contact with, which brings us back into telling that story that's very loud at the moment of how do I change my belief systems where they no longer serve me? And that really requires for each of us individually to go, what no longer serves me? What belief systems have I held to for whatever reason? And some of them are personal things we hold on to. Many of them are the way we were raised. Many of those have gone generations of being told that this is what we believe. In our family, this is what we believe. And then we believe it because we're taught to believe it. It's comfortable, it's known. Our brains want to do what they know. We work in a pattern, but our brains also love new information. We have neuroplasticity, which is very mutable energy, and we have this mutable, powerfully mutable energy showing up in this lunation. So we want to grow, we want to change, we need to be able to make the unknown known and get out of certain habits, because a lot of our belief systems are just a habit of, this is what I know, this is what I've always been told, this is what I've always believed. And so now it's the question of why, and is that still true for me? And if it isn't, I need to change the way I think about this. I need to change the way I metabolize this. I need to put new healthy habits and routines and rituals and practices in place that align with my new belief system. And the more that I think that way, the more that I act that way, the more that I develop, we are what we do. So if I keep saying new things to myself, if I keep doing new things for myself that align with the person I feel I am becoming, or I actually am at this point, instead of what I've been told. And it sounds simple when I say it that way, but it's not simple to unwind your patterning. So be gentle with yourself, but also be vigilant with yourself. And Mercury and these two strong mercurial archetypes of Pisces, Gemini and Virgo, are giving you a real permission slip right now to be vigilant of what you think, vigilant of what you do, because what you think and what you do is creating your reality. So this is a really powerful, for me, this is a really powerful new moon. I think it's one that we can really sink our teeth into with new things that can really change the way we move forward in our lives. So I'm very, very excited about this new moon. And as I say, look at your own chart. It will impact you personally. And I look forward to seeing you on the next forecast for the next full moon, which will be an eclipse. So get ready for that. And please do like, share, comment, subscribe. These things really help me to carry on with what I do. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks so much for watching.